welcome back. In this video we're going to have a look at the three trigonometric ratios that we use to typically analyze right-angled triangles. Over here we've got a right-angled triangle. It's a right angle because there's a 90-degree angle here. We've also got the angle of interest labelled for us, theta. Opposite the angle theta, we have the side called the opposite. Next to the angle theta, we have the side we call adjacent. And finally, the longest side of the triangle, which is also opposite the 90-degree angle, is our hypotenuse. What we find is if we know at least two quantities in this triangle, using the study of trigonometry, we can deduce every other characteristic about this particular triangle. So for example, if we know the angle theta and we know the opposite side, then we can deduce the adjacent side and the length of the hypotenuse. Similarly, if we knew the length of the hypotenuse and the angle theta, then we could deduce the opposite side here as well as the adjacent. And finally, if we knew any of the two sides, so the length of any of the two sides, we can deduce all of the angles as well as the final length of the final side, so the hypotenuse. The way in which we do this is we use the three trigonometric ratios defined as sine, cosine, and tangent. Now to write this mathematically, we write sine as sine theta equals, and sine theta is defined as the ratio that the opposite makes with the hypotenuse. For the cosine, we have cos theta, and cos theta is the definition of the ratio between the adjacent and the hypotenuse. And finally, the tangent is defined as tan theta, and it's a ratio that the opposite makes with the adjacent side. Now, the way in which we can remember these is we have a mnemonic that we call SO, CA, TOA. And the way in which it works is we go SO, sine, opposite, hypotenuse. CA, meaning cosine, adjacent, hypotenuse. And TOA, meaning tangent, opposite, adjacent. Now, to be able to do mathematics using these functions, we need to have access to a calculator. In our case, we use the Casio calculator. Now, the sine, cosine, and tangent functions are available using these buttons here, sine, cosine, and tangent. So if I put in sine, and then I go, let's go sine of 30 degrees, then it's going to tell me the ratio that the opposite makes with the hypotenuse. In this case, it's going to be 0.5. Similarly, if I put in the cosine of, let's go 45 degrees, then the ratio it makes is 0.707. So in conclusion, in this video, what we set out to do was to have a look at the definitions of the three trigonometric ratios that we typically use when we analyze right-angled triangles.